You're listening to The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey with local credit experts Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan. Now, here's Jason and Damon.
I don't care if he's my dad or the guy down the street or someone that fell out of the sky. No interest in that. I don't care if he's my dad. Back off with your judgment.
Hi, it's Jason Kaplan back here with Damon and Ms. Ennis here for The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. We were just talking during the break because that's what we do, and we were discussing a couple things about taxes and about the federal government. And I was going to bring up, and I still am, I guess, that the IRS has now decided they want to be a friendlier, happier, nicer IRS. So they passed some new rules about tax liens and tax judgments. They used to file a tax lien against you if you had a minimum of $5,000 owed. Well, the new friendlier IRS, as of last week, has decided they're only going to file against you if it's a $10,000 tax lien.
Go IRS.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? If you have a tax lien with the IRS, and now it would have to be there, obviously, and they take care of it. Now, if you enter into direct deposit repayment plan, and remember, it has to be direct deposits. They can just get their money from you. They will now take it off the credit report, and they will release you of that lien while you're making the payments. And as a credit repair specialist, one of the more important things that I thought was fantastic is I preach all the time that if you pay off debt, it doesn't come off your credit report. It still remains. So a lot of times you pay off debt, and it hurts your credit. Well, the new friendlier IRS has decided that if you have paid or satisfied a federal tax lien, what ends up happening is, and it's only upon their request, but if you request it from them, they will now delete and not only release, but they will delete the judgment or the IRS tax lien from your credit report.
If you're just joining us, this is the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. What Mr. Kaplan, expert credit attorney, has said to you is very important information. I suggest you pick up the phone and give us a call to go through details about it at 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118.
That was your 976 number that you were forgetting. But let's take it a step further, because this is where we got into the conversation with Ms. Ennis. Ms. Ennis, what did you just tell us about income taxes during the break?
That they are dischargeable if there are certain criteria are met, being that the return was due more than 3 years old, 3 years or more, that it has been assessed in the last 2 years, and that it's for a conventional income tax as opposed to a trust fund tax, employer tax, or sales tax.
Here is a great example of why we have experts on our show. Okay, and I need more experts in my life. I like to think that I'm good at one thing, and that one thing is credit restoration. And there are so many other things in this world that I don't know. But there's so much misinformation. I get phone calls every day from people saying, I have these tax liens and I can't get rid of them. And a bankruptcy doesn't get rid of them. And in most cases, it's right. But having an expert attorney like you on the program, it means a world of difference. I had no idea. No idea.
Absolutely. And this is why it's important to go out and speak to experts and learn as you go. Because a lot of attorneys out there that I've dealt with in my time, they want to take the shortcut. And they don't use the full power of the bankruptcy system. And what Kirsten is doing is she actually can take advantage of the entire system and design a plan to help your finances with the full extent of the law. It's not just a Chapter 7 resolution of debt.
Exactly. She uses the power like Charlie Sheen. I think that you should pick up the phone and give Kirsten a call, because that is real deal information. It makes a difference to you. If you have tax liens, if you owe money to the IRS, you very well may need some advice there as well. Please pick up the phone and give her a call at 908-713-0345. Again, 908-713-0345. And without further ado, Jason, I wanted to have a little bit of a talk about what they don't want you to know. And who's they? The banks, the creditors, collection agencies, your parents. What do they don't want you to know?
Now, time for what they don't want you to know.
What they're hiding from you. Tell me what we have this week, Jason.
Well, there are a lot of rules under what's called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. And that's a federal law, but there are various state, versions of it as well. And they basically have a guideline for what and how the agencies are allowed to collect debt. So when they call you up and they threaten to call your mother and your neighbor and your boss, you don't have to listen to them because they're not allowed to do that. There's a lot of regulations as to when they're allowed to call and what they're allowed to say.
So let me throw some questions at you, and then you can answer them. Can a debt collector, and I know our listeners are wondering the same thing, can a debt collector call me anytime, any place, no matter what?
Absolutely not. There are certain times of the day, and 8 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock in the evening, they can't go any later than that. No exceptions, no ands, if or buts, and it goes by your time zone.
So if you're sitting at home and somebody calls you at 7:45 and leaves a voice message that they're collecting on a debt, you want to take that voice message because that is your golden ticket.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You want to keep that voice message. And that goes with any correspondence. It's very rare, but if you have a debt that's been discharged in bankruptcy or you have a debt that you've paid off, remember, collection companies like anyone are allowed to make a mistake, but when you bring up that mistake and they continue to do it, that's when you get a violation of the law. So you always want to get a paper trail and evidence because there's nothing better than not having to pay a collection company than having them pay you.
Oh boy, that's great. And we talk about this every week for people who don't know. I hate collection agencies, and they don't want you to know this. They don't want you to know that they have a box around them in rules and in regulations of what they can and can't do. And here's a question, because they hate this one. Can a consumer stop a collection agency from calling them?
Absolutely. It's something called a cease and desist letter. You can do it verbally, but as an attorney, I always like to have everything in writing. If you want to fax it, you could always just get the fax transmittal sheet. And it doesn't have to be any legalese. It just has to say, my name is John Smith. I have an account with you guys, and I no longer want to be contacted. Or if you do contact me, I want to be contacted in writing rather than by telephone. And they have to cease. The only caveat of that is, if it's an original creditor, like if you got a car from General Motors, you can't tell General Motors not to call you because you contracted with them. It's when there's a collection company, a third-party collection company doing the collecting, you can definitely stop them from calling you.
See, I take it a step further. I sign the letter in blood, and I use 4-letter words, not the good ones. I say if I'm going to correspond with them and if they're going to read it and they're obligated to abide by what it says in the letter, why not have a little fun, right?
Absolutely. Or if you're getting help from someone like me, or if you're getting help by someone like Ms. Innes, we have staff on hand to kind of block those calls from you.
Yeah, to create a buffer.
Oh, I have a full staff that's designed to allow collection companies not to speak to me and just kind of suck up the collection calls.
Yeah, I think next week we're going to do a call to a collection agency on this. Most people have very negative experiences. When we call collection agencies, oftentimes they're acting a little bit differently. But if a client calls, or if you call a collection agency, you know how nasty these people can be. You know that these people are the scum of the earth, in my opinion. Okay, my humble opinion. But I hate them. I hate the fact that they prey on people. I hate the fact that they sit 100 to a room and churn and burn on an auto dial to get your number just to be able to get your money out of your pocket. I hate the fact that they're trolling Facebook to try to find your friends and family illegally, contacting them to see how they can get money.
Yeah, they can't contact your friends and family. They can't contact your work if your work tells them not to contact them. They can only contact someone who's a legitimate contact for your person, and that doesn't go by who you know. It goes by your applications that you've filled out. If you put someone, if you put your mother down as your emergency contact or something on the application for your financing, then yes, they can call them until they're told not to. But they can't just randomly find out that you live on Jones Street and decide to call every single person on Jones Street. They can't do anything like that.
How about this? And I know that most people out there have dealt with this. How about somebody who calls and is just more than nasty, that threatens, they're coming right now to put you in jail, or I'm coming to your house personally to get our money. Can they threaten you? Can they threaten your life? Can they threaten to throw you in prison?
No, and there's actually, I think we talked about this a couple months ago on our show. There was an article where an older lady, I think she's 83 years old in Texas, they told her she's going to go to jail for not paying her phone bill, and she didn't think she owed it, and she hung up the phone, and she got dressed, and she packed a suitcase, and she waited on the porch for the police to come, because they said the police were coming right over. Can't do things like that.
It's a shame. It really is.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is, I mean, they just make up the rules as they go along. We were talking, at one of the breaks, I was talking with Kirsten. You were telling me about the experiences that these debt collection companies try to collect on bankruptcy debt, which they can't collect on.
Right. They actually have apparently securitized discharge debt, and it's purchasable by anybody that wants to try to collect on and discharge debt.
And it's amazing to me that credit repair as an industry has gone through such difficult times in regards to the negative connotations that go along with it. When collection agencies are just so egregious in the nasty things that they do. It's disgusting. I hate them. If you're just joining us, you're listening to the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. I think that maybe you should give us a call if you have questions with creditors, if you have any problems with collection agencies, if you're suffering, if you have debt, if you have problems. I'm here to help you. Give us a call at 973-771-5118. Again, my number 973-771-5118, or on the web at creditrepair.to. Here's a little tidbit too. I think that if you have collection agencies that are calling you, I would get in the habit, and this is probably just me because I'm a lunatic with this, but I would get in the habit of putting a tape recorder next to my bed so that anytime these monsters call you, we get in the habit of recording them and perhaps even egging them on to break the law. It doesn't take that much of a push to get these guys to go over the edge to break the law.
In my office, I record every single conversation. It's okay, you can. Because the first thing they tell you when you call up is this call is being recorded. It's an attempt to collect a debt. So no matter what jurisdiction you're in, whether both parties have to have notice or just one party, they've given you the notice. The law doesn't require which person's allowed to record the conversation. So I use those telephone calls all the time for settling debt, for all the scenarios, because the misleading information they tell you is ridiculous. And we're bringing, what we'll do, Damon? Let's get a couple calls, and we're bringing a couple calls next week.
Yeah.
To let the listeners listen to what these people are saying to us.
Yeah, check this out. And it's good, too, to work with an attorney in the case of bankruptcy. Let me ask you, Kirsten, when you go through the bankruptcy process, does the bankruptcy attorney send a letter to all the creditors saying, hey, stop calling my client. I am now the attorney. Please don't contact them directly and contact me.
If they file bankruptcy, all the creditors are notified, and they should know. If a creditor falls through the cracks, so to speak, and doesn't get actual notice and they continue to call, then I'll send a specific letter saying that they need to stop, that they're represented by an attorney, and there's a bankruptcy stay.
Yeah.
And
but I always tell my clients, if they're calling before bankruptcy, tell the collection company or the person calling that they should be really happy that they have a job, and it's because of them that they have a job collecting.
Absolutely. And then how many of those clients still complain to that they're still calling even after you give notification?
They still do complain. The collection companies just can't seem to get it.
Sure, and why should they? If they buy a debt in block and 1 out of 1,000 people sues, but 500 out of 1,000 pay,
right.
Why not? Don't get me wrong. Collection agencies, from a business perspective, is a pretty lucrative business to be in, and that's probably why there are so many pigs in that industry. But there's certainly a lot of ways to be able to make a lot of money with it.
Absolutely.
Buying debt, selling debt, and everything else that goes along with it.
Well, I just think it's important to know your rights. So when you're speaking to somebody, that they can't intimidate you and tell you something that's not correct. And if you either contact a credit repair or an attorney, they're going to let you know your rights and what your options are to be able to tell that person that's calling that they can't do it.
That's right. That's what we're about, empowering the people, letting the people out there, you, our listeners, know that you have rights. You need to know what those rights are. You need to know what your options are so you can be an informed and strong consumer. We only have a few minutes left, but I want to go into one credit true or false question. Jason, can we? Do you mind if we go into a credit true or false question, buddy?
I can take a question. I'll answer it quickly. If you want, you can give 2. I'll just answer them quickly.
We're going to have 2, as a matter of fact. So, credit true or false. If we can, let's get a little bit of credit true or false music.
It's credit true or false.
Here's the first one, and I'm going to throw it to expert counselor Kirsten Bienis. the credit bureaus are government agencies. True or false?
False.
Very, very good.
I think they're called credit bureaus because they want people to think they're federal bureaus, to be honest
That's
with
very
you.
good. Like you name your company National Collection Credit Services.
Yeah,
So
just
think-
to the service, then you send out like a letterhead with the White House on it and some kind of seal with a bird.
Right. Let me break it down. They are not government agencies, although you said it before, they very well may one day be. And for all intents and purposes, they donate enough money to our senators and congressmen that they probably should be. But the credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, are in business to make money. They're in business to make money by selling your information, and they're good at it. So they have no affiliation with the government, save for their massive lobbyist pool in Washington that donates money, whether above board or below.
And tries to change the laws so that it helps them and hurts the consumer.
Well, the problem is these guys are out to get you. These are big companies that they're really good at riding the backs of everyday consumers. And if you don't know, now you know.
Do we have time for one more, Damon, quickly?
One quick. True or false? Jason, I'll throw it to you. If I get one credit bureau to remove an item from my credit report, then all of the other credit bureaus will remove it automatically.
That's not true. They are all separate, independent companies. It's like shopping for a car. You can go to Toyota, Ford, General Motors. They might all be car companies, but they're not related to each other. Same with the credit bureaus. People pay to report. So sometimes you pay and it reports to all three. If you buy a car from Joe's Used Car Lot, it might report to none, one, or maybe two. So the information is separate and individualized, and that's why credit scores are separate and individualized.
Right, so check it out. If you're doing credit repair on your own, that's noble of you, but don't think that if Experian went ahead and deleted that collection that's 3 years old, the other credit bureaus did too, and you'll be able to go buy your car. You must be mindful that these three organizations are reporting information independently of one another. They don't speak, they're in competition, and I don't even know that they like each other.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for joining us this week. It was great to have everybody.
Kirsten, again, thank you, because real information is so rare to find. If you have any bankruptcy problems or if you're looking for an expert attorney in New Jersey, I definitely suggest you pick up the phone or write down Kirsten's information. Her phone number is 908-713-0345. Again, 908-713-0345, or on the web at ennislegal.com. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio Network. As always, if you have any questions for Jason or myself, if you're looking for an attorney, a real estate agent, a realtor, a CPA, or anyone else that we can refer you to, or if you have questions about your own personal credit and your personal problems, we're here to help you. Pick up the phone and give us a call anytime at our number at 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118. Or on the web at creditrepair.to. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you Sunday.
We all win.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Hello, Jason Kaplan here, host of the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey. I'm thrilled that I get to speak to you every week and bring you the truths about your credit. A lot of stuff you hear in the news is just flat out wrong. If you want the inside knowledge about what's going on with your credit, that's what I'm here for. Give me a call at 973-771-5118. That's 973-771-5118. Whether you're looking to buy a home, get a job, apply for car insurance, your credit's the most important factor in these decisions. I can help you make an educated decision about what's going on and what's best for you and your family. It's easy. I give you the real facts and you decide what to do from there. Just give me a call. I'm here to help. 973-771-5118. That's 973-771-5118. Or visit us online at creditrepair.to.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. The preceding program was paid for by Real Estate Radio Network. The hosts are not an employee of WMTR or its parent company, Greater Media. The views and opinions expressed on the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. Station management has not investigated the claims made in financial service spots that may air during this program. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major financial decision.